think
happening.
that's a weak excuse? Because,
I don't
okay,
think
I
I don't
understand you don't want to fight the mother, but when your kid becomes an adult, there's no more mommy
well,
excuse.
I'm not gonna say that I see it as a weak excuse because I work in medicine. I see what happens with children all the time, and that dad will be away from that kid, and they'll wait until they turn 19. But again, the story has been told for so long that kid believes that story, and so seeing that child and that child then rejecting him, or sorry, rejecting them, it's a heavy thing. I'm not a father, so I can't really interpret how that feels. I could give
But
my
it's
opinion on
okay
it.
to make the excuse for the father. Because the mother who was abandoned with the children, she had to raise these kids alone by herself with no money
Right. Well,
because it's not
if
rich
she
people running
well
off doing this.
if
So
she
she
chose to push away
harbors feelings.
if she chose to push away the father, and if she really wanted to be assisted, she wouldn't be talking shit about the father.
Let's talk about a modern injustice that rarely gets the attention it deserves. Maternal alienation, weaponized through the legal system and the court of public opinion. The video you just watched is a real-time reflection of what happens when the state gives one parent, usually the mother, unchecked power to shape a child's reality, emotions, and perception against their own father. This isn't about deadbeat dads or irresponsible men. This is about a system that allows, and even rewards, a mother for turning a child into a psychological weapon. With full custody, legal backing, and societal sympathy, she can rewrite the narrative. She can paint the father as absent, abusive, or unloving, even if the truth is the exact opposite. She has the state, the courts, and often social media on her side. The father? He has to fight, pay, wait, and often lose. The most tragic part? That same child grows up being told, "Your dad left you," when in reality, he was pushed out, slandered, and blocked at every turn. The phone calls went unanswered. The visits were sabotaged. Every attempt to connect was filtered through the mother's bitterness and control. And when the child becomes an adult, society expects the father to simply forgive, forget, and pay up. Let that sink in. The man spends 18 years being demonized, minimized, and sidelined. Yet when that child grows up and needs college money, a car, or help with rent, the father is supposed to show up like a loyal dog, tail wagging, check in hand. Meanwhile, no one holds the mother accountable for the damage she did. No one asks how she manipulated the child's view of reality. No one questions her role in the estrangement. She's protected, because we live in a world where motherhood is sanctified, even when it's toxic. And this is the real red pill. Men are not allowed to be victims, especially not in the family court system. You can be alienated, emotionally destroyed, financially drained, and still, you will be called a bad dad if you don't show up smiling when that grown child wants a relationship, after being taught to hate you for decades. It's psychological warfare, but one side is unarmed by law. Family court doesn't care about the long-term psychological trauma of alienated fathers. Public opinion will always default to, what did the man do wrong? But no one wants to ask the hard question. What happens when a woman lies, manipulates, and systematically erases a man from his child's life? And the damage isn't just emotional, it's financial. He's paying child support for a child who spits in his face. He's often legally required to fund their life while being legally restricted from being in it. That is slavery with a smile. And when the child grows up, the world expects the father to reconnect like nothing happened. Like he wasn't robbed of birthdays, graduations, first steps, and bedtime stories. Like his pain doesn't matter. So what's the takeaway? As men, we need to be aware of the system we're in. This isn't about hating women. This is about protecting yourself, knowing the legal battlefield, and understanding that not all wounds are visible. Emotional and parental alienation is one of the most powerful tools used against fathers today. And if you don't navigate it wisely, you will lose your child, your peace, and your wallet. The only way to fight back is with knowledge, documentation, emotional restraint, and financial control. Stop playing defense, start learning the game. If you're a man with kids, protect your rights early. Record everything. Lawyer up. Push for joint custody. Fight false narratives with facts and strategy. Because once you're erased from your child's heart, the system will make you pay to watch. And to those who've already lost their children to this kind of alienation, I see you. The world may not, but you're not alone. Your pain is real, and no matter what they say, you are not the villain.
The feminine will test the shit out of you. She will literally push your buttons just to see how you will react. And it's not because she actually wants to piss you off or give you a rough time necessarily. She just wants to know deep down in her bones that you can be counted on. And it's not just in times of physical danger or anything like that. Protecting her physically is just, it's like tip of the iceberg. Can you hold space for her and protect her emotionally when she's being emotional? Because the feminine knows how she works. She knows how she is because of her mood swings, because of her emotional nature, etc. So she literally wants to do a shit test and see if you're gonna break under the pressure that she puts you through. So when she acts erratic, when she says stuff that makes zero sense, are you gonna stand your ground and be completely unwavering and really just not in a place where you're gonna be swayed by her scenes of emotional expression? Or are you gonna take it personally, or maybe even just walk away and be like, hey, listen, I'll go now, and when you're normal again, just let me know so I can come back? What will you do? And the thing is, like, even if you fail her test, she might still stay with you. She might still be with you, but does she trust you? Will she ever fully open up to you?
Let's talk about one of the most toxic relationship dynamics that modern men are not only expected to tolerate, but in some circles are actually told to embrace. The idea that a woman is supposed to test you constantly, that she's going to create chaos, emotional instability, and drama just to see if you can hold space for her. And if you fail, even just once, she'll lose trust in you as a man. That is insanity, dressed up as feminine psychology. Let me give you an example. Think about Lois Lane. There's a scene in Superman where she literally throws herself out of a window just to see if Superman will catch her. She doesn't call for help. She doesn't test him in a way that's rational. No. She throws herself into mortal danger. Why? Because she wants to know if he's that guy. That's what women are doing emotionally in these relationships. They create problems. They trigger fights. They say things that make no sense. They weaponize their own mood swings, not because they hate you, but because they want to feel like you're strong enough to handle them. But here's the problem with that. A relationship should not be a proving ground for your masculinity. You are not her therapist. You are not her emotional punching bag, and you're definitely not Superman. If you're spending every day trying to pass the next test, constantly walking on eggshells, constantly trying to interpret her erratic behavior like you're decoding an encrypted message, then you're not in a relationship. You're in a game you can't win. What's worse is that this dynamic is designed to be lose-lose. If you walk away from the chaos and say, "I'm not dealing with this," she tells herself you're weak. If you stay and try to be her emotional sponge, she eventually loses respect for you because you're too available, too soft, too easy. And this is where the red pill perspective becomes clear. Women don't test you to build you up. They test you to see what they can get away with. The moment you reward bad behavior with tolerance, you teach her that drama works. You teach her that conflict equals intimacy. That's a death sentence for male peace. It trains her to become more erratic, more unstable, and more manipulative, because you're telling her, the more you test me, the more I'll show up. That's not strength, that's submission. A high-value man sets boundaries, not because he doesn't care, but because he understands that love without respect is just manipulation. You don't prove yourself by absorbing her emotional outbursts. You don't earn her trust by surviving her sabotage. If she has to break the relationship just to know you can fix it, that's not love. That's emotional terrorism. Real strength is knowing when to walk away from someone who makes chaos their love language.